Speak a little louder. So good evening. We will call to order our Sevastopol Town Board this Monday evening, June 16th, 2025 at 7 p.m. And I would ask that you all rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. And Madam Clerk, if you would please do the roll call to establish a quorum for us.
Supervisor Mark Hain.
Here.
Supervisor Jeannie Vogel.
Here.
Vice Chair Linda Waite.
Here.
Supervisor Trent Olson.
Here.
Chairman Dan Wolfel is excused.
All right, thank you very much. And then we will go around the room and we can introduce ourselves if you want to state your name and address, and we'll just go around the room then. Bill, you can start.
4095 Clinton Drive.
Kent Ingram, 4559 Rock Ridge Road.
Chris Ingram, 4559 Rock Ridge Road. Cheryl Burka, 4485 Rock Ridge Road.
Tom Burka, 4485 Rock Ridge Road.
Lori Burberg, 4570 Rock Ridge Road. Denise Burberg, 4570 Rock Ridge Road.
Jeff Locknell, 4546 Rock Ridge Road.
Ashley?
Ashley Stocks, Clark Lake Road, EMR Crew Chief.
Okay.
Kim Parrick, 8405 West Pine Ridge Circle, Bailey's Harbor.
Juliana Bean, 408 West Maple Street, City of Sturgeon Bay. Tanya Feldhofer, 6148 South Shoreside Circle.
John Jar, 6020 North Cape Point Drive at Jacksonport, also here with Destination Door Canyon.
Sam Glychat, 4482 Rock Ridge Road.
Chad McLeod, 4482 Rock Ridge Road.
All right, thank you very much. Public participation. If you are here to address an item that is not on our agenda, if you wish to speak on an agenda item, you will be allowed to do that when we get down to that item. So is there anyone here who wishes to speak on a non-agenda item? It looks like Mr. Schuster is raring to go. You can go to the podium if you...
Either one. Okay.
Podium is fine, Bill. You can take center stage over there.
Or you could take the
So I'm William Schuster. I live at 4095 Clinton Drive, and I have two topics that are related on public access. It's topics that have been here before, and to start that, I thank the board for the work you've done on the access, the public town-owned accesses on Clinton Drive that regular people that live in the town have access to Lake Michigan. Two of the access points that were done in the past, Bittersweet and Arrowhead, have no spot where a person can park without blocking the driveways of the people who are next to it. And of course, we have signs that say don't block the driveways, which is appropriate. They have to park on the road, or they park in front, and there's already been conflicts with landowners, understandably so. Both of these are 60 feet wide, and with less than an hour of brushing and a little bit of pruning, we could have a parking spot just on next to the lane. And so my request is that the town board authorize that, and my offer is I'll do it on both of those lanes. And you can have someone come out and meet me there. I'll show you what it is, but it's just brushing a little bit, pruning. You can jam a car. I got pictures you want to see. You can jam a car in there and scratch it, but it would make a hell of a lot of sense. They'll stop the arguments that are already happening, and they won't have to park on that. So it's actually a no-brainer, and I got pictures if you want to see. Otherwise, I can answer questions on that one before I go on to the, and I'll do it. So it won't cost you a thing, and I won't get yelled at by the neighbors as much.
And the brushing would be within that 60 feet, right? You're not going outside of the 60-foot right-of-way.
Next to the driveway, you can get like 3/4 of a car in there and scratch it, and they can't get through. It's not.
Okay.
It's actually pretty simple.
All right.
Plenty of room.
And once a car was pulled in, it's easy enough for them to back out?
All the above. Or
Okay.
turn around. They can turn around. Because the driveways, at least half of them or more, are mostly on town property anyhow. So they can turn around and not even go on private property.
Okay. All right. Any comments on that?
Sounds good to me.
So, do we need to take a look at the situation? Do you have all the equipment you need, Bill, or?
Yeah.
Okay, and you have liability insurance in case something happens?
I'll sign whatever affidavit that I won't sue you.
Okay. All right, well, we'll address that. Thanks for the input,
Okay.
and we'll take a look at the situation.
Great.
Did you have pictures
I do have
available
pictures.
by email, or if you want to drop them off to Amy,
I
or?
can send them to you right now if you want.
Okay, why don't we do that? I assume the sooner the better to do some brushing, right? And get the cars off the street?
Already unhappy people.
Okay, all right.
Thanks, sir.
And is it just brush? I mean, do you need a chain, will you have to use a chainsaw or anything? Okay, good.
This is the sign to get brushed out too.
The second one, any questions on that?
No. Can we just go ahead and give the go-ahead, or?
I can do it and ask for forgiveness.
Oh, that's right, yes, we
vote,
can't
we
make,
can't-
thank you, thank you. So we'll take that under advisement, Bill, and get
Got
back
it.
to you.
Right, the second one I have, and I'm very quick, because it sounds like you folks have a lot. The premier town property on Glen Drive is on Shivering Sands. The town owns almost a half acre on Shivering Sands Creek, and it's historically have been used by people who know that it's public property. It's both sides of the creek. It's, by a crow flies, 200 to 175 feet, much more than that on both sides of the creek meandering. People kayak when the lake is higher, they fish. I've been killing the poison ivy there for years. When I'm there, people come and ask permission from me to walk on the public property. There's 3 parking spots already. You can convince the person across the road not to use it as the parking spot. There's trails on both sides of the creek. The only thing that what I'm asking for is to put up some signs telling the public that they can use this property. The only other sign that you'd want to put up is the property does not make it to Lake Michigan. So when both trails terminate onto private property, you just want a sign say, and already on one side there is, the other side is kind of obvious and you can't make it to lake without getting wet anyhow. So it's just wonderful property, and the general public and the taxpayers of Sevastopol don't even know they can use that property. And and of course the people that we all live around it, we know it, but you know, the person who lives in center of Sevastopol doesn't even know they can use this property. So I'm asking that we make that aware in signage. And I can help. I've already been taking care of that property for 25 years too. So I can continue to help, and you don't even have to invest money into poison ivy and cutting the trees that fall on the trails. I do that all the time.
Is there any signage at all that says private property beyond this point?
On
Just on the
what north side of the
north side.
creek, the property where there was, what the hell, there was a lot of no trespassing signs for a while there. There's a sign there. And on the other side, which appears to be like the south side, the markers are there. The survey, and the town you should have a copy of the survey. It was done in 2000. Leo and I were talking about this I think I gave you one before. All the corners have pipe pins in. I can show you where they are. There's an additional street called Short Street, and you come from the south. If you don't make the first bend to go around the creek, there's a short street which is right next to this property, which is also town property. So it's really nice. People should know that it's their public property. Simple as that.
Okay. Is that something that the Park and Rec Board would take a look at, Mark?
I mean, it's
Not exactly.
It's not really a park,
Park or
but
rec,
it is
I mean.
public space.
I'd be more than happy to give, say, if you have someone who is in charge to give show the property, show where the pins are, whatever assistance you'd want, I'd help you out.
Okay, let us think about that. Back to the access lane and brushing, is that something we could address under item 8E, our road work, since an access lane is kind of like a road work?
I would say yes.
Okay. All right,
That's it?
thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Welcome.
Thanks. We'll be in touch then, Bill. Thank you. Anyone else on a topic or an item that is not on our agenda? No? Okay. All right, then I would look for a motion to adopt our agenda.
I'll make that motion to adopt the agenda.
And I'll second.
All right, motion by Ms. Vogel, second by Mr. Olson to adopt the agenda. No, if there's no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Motion is carried. All right, our minutes of our previous meeting on May 19th, 2025. I think you've all had a chance to see those in your packet, so I would look for a motion to accept those minutes and place on file, please.
I'll make a motion approval minutes of the Board of Supervisors meeting, May 19th, 2025.
I'll second.
All right, motion by Mr. Haynes, second by Mr. Olson to accept our minutes of May 19th, 2025. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, and we have the Destination Door County and Door County Tourism Zone Commission people here tonight, so we'll turn it over to them. Thank you.
Hello, thank you for having us tonight. My name is Juliana Beam. I am a City of Sturgeon Bay resident, but a Town of Sevastopol beekeeper. But most of the time, I am the Door County Tourism Zone Administrator. I'm happy to be talking to you today a little bit about what we've been doing for the past year, give a little bit of a refresher for anybody who is maybe not as aware of the zone, and talk about some of the plans that our office has for the year moving ahead. So for anyone who is not aware of the tourism zone, we are the entity that is responsible for collecting and remitting room tax in the county. The room tax rate is currently set at 8%, and we distribute 70% of the room tax we collect to Destination Door County and 30% to the respective municipalities from which the room tax was collected. So 30% is distributed to the town of Sevastopol, and in 2024 that amounted to $209,447. I provided a little handout there with a few of the statistics, as well as a list of our active and inactive properties. We may have had a few updates since it was created. We also have a list of them from our May meeting on our website that's available to the public, along with quite a bit of other data. A few things that I wanted to point out within the past year, as well as for this upcoming year. There was a 3% drop in occupancy in the town of Sevastopol in the past year, but there was also an increase in the number of available units by about 2,000 units. Overall, it's been pretty stable, and 2025 has been no different. The county overall had a 1% decrease in occupancy this last year, and about 3,500 unit night drop. However, one of the things about that is, as we've seen higher occupancy for cottages, cabin, and home properties, which have greater capacity, it is difficult for us to really estimate whether or not that decrease in the number of rented unit nights is because people are, if their family was taking up 2 hotel rooms, now they're taking up
Can you
one
speak
home.
closer?
Oh,
Thank
sure.
you.
Sorry about that. But there was an increase countywide it was an average daily rate increase of about $15 for each unit night. And that's, it was pretty consistent in Sevastopol with a $10 increase average daily rate. Now in 2025, we are still in the early reporting portion of the year because our permit holders have a month in which to complete their room tax reports. We have our statistics through April, and it usually fluctuates quite a bit, especially whether it being weather dependent or other factors for the early portion of the year. We really aren't going to see significant hard-hitting numbers until, unfortunately, August, I would say, with our June numbers coming in. A few other things to note: we did have one compliance permit that was created in the last year that is noted in red in the admin notes. We are still continually looking out on VRBO, Airbnb, and have branched out to other marketplace providers to ensure that they are that anybody who is listing there is permitted with us. And we give a friendly nudge and a little more than a friendly nudge if we need to. And I know that the town of Sevastopol does an incredible job at keeping track of everyone who is renting short-term. And we really have had a great time collaborating with Amy just to make sure that everybody's on the same page. So that has been a great experience. I also wanted to mention to anyone who might be contacting us at the office, we do have a new tax specialist. Cassidy Crilly has joined us, and she will be spending quite a bit of her time working on making sure that the reports that are coming in are accurate, that one of the processes that we go through is we review room tax reports that have been sent in, and we take a look at what the average daily rate would be and see whether or not it's consistent with marketplace provider sites, whether or not the amount it's being listed for, if it's, say, $300, if we average out the amount of lodging sales that is reported and the amount of nights that was rented, making sure that that's consistent with what is listed. Of course, it's a little bit more difficult if they don't have marketplace provider listings or direct listings with prices, but we're doing what we can to keep up with that and check back twice per year with the Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection to make sure that we have a consistent database with them as well. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. I know that Jeannie and Linda keep you all well up to date, but I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Do you want to explain, Juliana, how the commission comes about as far as members based on the number of revenues from room tax and that?
Certainly, I would be happy to. So a lot of the structure of the commission is created based on state statute 66.0615, and that governs how we are able to create the commission, the amounts of penalties, late fees, and interest that we're allowed to designate. So as for the number of commissioners that we have, firstly, all 19 municipalities are allowed to have one representative on the commission. If your municipality collects more than $300,000 in room tax in a yearly cycle, there are 2 spaces that are designated. Once you reach $1 million, it's 3. Now, some municipalities have chosen to defer and have not placed anybody on the commission, have not appointed anyone. But there are spaces for all of them. At this point in time, we have 30 commissioners. And a few other things about state statute. The room tax ordinance that was adopted by all 19 municipalities in Door County stipulates that the 70% goes to Destination Door County up to their budget amount, and the rest is reserved in a restricted fund, but it must be used for tourism promotion and development, and that is prescribed by the state. 30% is actually the maximum that can be directed to municipalities without any restrictions on its use. The other 70% needs to be used for tourism promotion and development activities, and that could be media campaigns, it could be some kind of building or capital investment, or information services are the ones that are the projects that we see and hear about most often.
Questions, anyone, for Juliana? No? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next
And I'll
up.
pass it over to John.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is John Jarsh with Destination Door County. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you all tonight. I would like to just make a few quick notes. I'd like to recognize Tanya Fellhofer. She is on our board of directors, also a member of the Sevastopol Municipal Residential, whatever. I don't even know how to say that. Mark's the one with the words around here.
Yeah.
At any rate, and the other thing is Cameron Ehlers-Kwiatkowski, the executive director from Destination Sturgeon Bay, had intended to be here. Unfortunately, ran into some childcare issues this evening and was not able to make it. So she's at home with her 2 little ones. So, but she did intend to be here. So, tourism promotion is the foundation of our work at Destination Door County. And as our county's destination organization, we really do focus on attracting visitors in ways that fuel our local economy, support our small businesses, and also help to sustain jobs. We're working to ensure that tourism continues to benefit the people who live and work here, and not just those who visit. So at this point, kind of how I'm going to go through my short presentation is to walk you through the folders that I had presented. So if you're one of those that likes to follow along at home, feel free to grab that as I'm walking through. We'll start off with the economic impact report, the fact sheet, and to all of our folks in our audience tonight, this particular sheet is available online at doorcounty.com/impact. So if you're interested in checking that out, you're more than welcome to. Certainly, pretty much everything I talk about tonight is available to the public. Door County visitor economy continued its upward momentum last year, generating $651.2 million in total economic impact, and really reaffirming the vital role that it plays in supporting our economy, our workforce, and the quality of life for residents. The numbers for 2024 just came out about a week ago, so they're still pretty fresh. That continued incremental growth that we saw in overall economic impact is also really proof of the area's enduring appeal, and even more so, I think, efforts of small businesses, organizations, and local governments like you all that are dedicated to welcoming our visitors year-round. This newly released data from global research firm Tourism Economics highlights the impact that our visitor economy has on Door County's residents and families, and really does reflect how it powers our local economy. One other note, this is a fact sheet, 2-pager. If you're a data person or you just want to really dig into the entire report that we commissioned, it is available to download at doorcounty.com/impact. It's a great read. I loved it. Just so you all know it's real. If anybody wants to get a hold of that, you're welcome to, and that is available online. All right. Next, I'm going to move on to the funding flow chart that you'll see on the right-hand side. Juliana really kind of covered most of the room tax stuff, so I'm not going to get too much into what she talked about, but it does also help to show kind of how money flows through our organization, the designated tourism entity. The 70 cents of every dollar that comes in does, by state statute, as Juliana said, have to go through the tourism entity. And so here's kind of a breakdown on how we utilize those dollars as an organization. Our municipal reimbursement program, one that you, in green here, that you are all familiar with, began in 2022 and provides each of our municipalities with dollars that are equal to the amount that you pay to fund the administrative operations of the Door County Tourism Zone each year. This year, in 2025, that amount totaled $25,191 for the town of Sevastopol. The dollars that are reimbursed to each municipality, including you, can be used for any projects that follow that Wisconsin state lodging tax statute that Juliana had referenced. Things like anything in your park is going to be just fine, and I know you are very familiar with how those dollars can be used. Our Community Investment Fund program, a relatively new program, utilizes some of these dollars that are generated, again, by our overnight visitors and reinvests some of those dollars into local projects that can enhance the lives of our residents as well as improve the destination experience for our visitors. Grant opportunities are available to all local units of government, including the town of Sevastopol, as well as all Door County-based 501c3 public charities and 501c6 organizations in Door County. We've partnered with the Door County Community Foundation to administer this program for us, and since awarding our first grant dollars in May of 2023, we've invested over $2.4 million in 47 different local projects throughout Door County. The third page in your folder behind shows some of those projects that are awarded. And for anyone that may be interested in seeing all of the grants that have been awarded, if you go to doorcounty.com/CIF, you will see a list of every dollar that has been awarded through this program. Specifically, we're very excited that the town of Sevastopol was awarded a $70,000 grant to help fund that ADA-compliant restroom facility at your town park next door. And I'm happy to report it still has that new bathroom smell. So, nice work. Through our Strategic Community Partnership Program, another thing on the sheet here, we're investing directly into the success of our local communities by supporting the vital work of our community business association partners. This year alone, over $1.4 million will be distributed to our community business association partners across the county. This is funding that helps elevate their local efforts from events and community initiatives to business engagement. These investments benefit residents, boost our local economy, and also contribute to the vibrancy of our communities. We're grateful for our partnership with Destination Sturgeon Bay and all of our community business associations for the work that they do on behalf of all of us. The last item I'm going to mention quickly on the right-hand side of your folder lists our current board of directors for your perusal. And again, you'll find Tanya's name on that sheet, along with everyone else that's on our board. Moving now to the left-hand side of your folder, we've included a copy of our 2025 strategic plan, which outlines our goals, objectives, and strategies along with the metrics that we use to track progress, which ensures transparency and accountability. Beneath that is a copy of our Destination Stewardship Plan, I should say Door County's Destination Stewardship Plan. The Destination Stewardship Plan is really about shaping the future of Door County in a way that works for everyone. It's grounded in sustainability, access, and long-term opportunity, and reflects a shared commitment to protecting what makes this place so special. Through this effort, we're working toward a more balanced approach to tourism, one that supports our natural resources, respects our local culture, and keeps the well-being of our residents at the center. The plan lays out practical strategies to help manage visitor impact, improve the quality of life for our residents, and also expand the resources that benefit our entire community. This really, truly is a collaborative effort. It has shown that when we come together, we can really create real lasting change. And the third document on the left side of your packet, you'll see a few examples of some of the local initiatives that we at Destination Door County have undertaken. Things like green practices to reduce single-use plastics, expanding composting and recycling efforts, and also offer free hydration at community events. On June 7th, actually, we set up 2 different water stations at the Door Cancer Run Walk in the town park next door here, and we served water to more than 200 participants. So these are just some small steps, but they're really all part of a bigger picture. The last thing I'm going to mention that isn't in your packet here, but you should have all gotten it late last week, or perhaps maybe early this week, is our biannual municipal newsletter that we send out to every municipality. That is specific to each municipality, so the one that you have all should be fairly specific to Sevastopol, and we could do that. So you should have received that, and we hope that that is beneficial to, again, stay in touch and in contact with us as an organization and with the tourism zone to make sure that we continue our conversation throughout the year. I'd like to thank you, and I really do appreciate your time today, and also for your continued partnership. And at this point, I'm happy to answer and entertain any questions that you might have.
Any questions? All right, I'm a statistics person, so on this sheet here that has the graphs, John,
Yep.
Visitor spending and sales tax from visitors, that's tracked by zip code, is that correct? when charge cards go through and,
So there's a couple
Or
of
how
sources
is that tracked?
we have, Linda. And we've talked about it at the tourism zone before. One of the data sources we have tracks Visa credit cards. It's creepy cool. And so we can do that. This particular study did not utilize that. I mean, they used spending, and in the full report. And if you'd like, since you're a data person, I'd be happy to give you the hard copy I have of the report. But it runs through how they come up and like their methodology behind the numbers that you see in this fact sheet.
is it less than 100 pages?
Yes, it is. If you want, I can like copy and paste
Would
pages
you like to
get it over
read
100.
it?
But
Would you like to read it right now? No, thank you, John. Anyone else have any questions?
I want to say it's like 20.
All right, thank you. Mr. Schuster?
John, when I listen to and read things, the word of balancing,
Microphone.
sustainability.
Bill,
Oh,
we-
is there another
Would you use
microphone?
the
There we go,
microphone?
in front of Ashley there.
sorry.
John, when I listen.
To your mouth, please. Sorry.
Okay.
There you go. Bill.
All right, so when I read that and listen, the words sustainability and balance are used a lot, which are great. I'm happy the organization has evolved to that. It's wonderful. But having been involved in systems for my whole career, everything has a holding capacity. And to balance in sustainability, you have to identify the holding capacity of a system. What's the holding capacity that your sustainability is based on? You know, and this isn't a challenge, this is a real thing, because there's environmental, there's workforce, there's all those things. In my mind, the most critical one is a sense of place, you know. So the question I have, the hard one is what is the holding capacity that the organization bases its sustainability and balancing on? There's a point where you can't any further, and I don't know what that is, but
So
There it
it's a
is.
great question, and one that
otherwise you've ruined the system.
one that we think about quite often. And I think we as a destination, not just as our organization, but we as a destination were met with that head-on in 2021. The pandemic, obviously, as we all probably know, changed the landscape of the travel industry. From an economic impact standpoint and a dollars flowing into our county standpoint, we took a little bit of a hit in 2020, which the numbers reflect, but 2021 rebounded with a vengeance. And I think that was the first time that we really looked at what is our capacity? What can we hold? And Bill, the short answer is we don't know, because it depends what you're looking at. There's a lot of ways to look at it. And if you look at it one way, you could say, well, we're already over our capacity. And if you look at it another way, you could say, we got a lot of room to grow. And so it's a balance for us as an organization to try to make sure that we don't kill the goose that lays the golden egg, while continuing to provide economic opportunity for our residents, for our businesses, and really for our way of life here in Door County. The stewardship plan that we just came out with about a year ago, we came up with that, and we wanted to go through that exercise as a community. Destination Door County paid for it, but it wasn't our plan. It was the community's plan. We spent over a year collecting data. We did interviews. We had a great meeting here one night where we had community feedback sessions. And so the stewardship plan and what is in that particular plan was a result of all the research and the surveys and the questions that we asked our community. It doesn't answer the question, what's our capacity, right?
Now what is the holding, right, what's the limit?
Yeah,
Of whatever
but what
you
it did tell us was what, at least as of a year and a half ago, what the top priorities were for our community, which is how we put together, it's essentially about a 10-year plan.
I appreciate, I
Yeah.
don't mean to be challenging.
No,
but-
no.
But the system, all systems collapse.
Yeah.
All systems. And the path to damnation and bankruptcy is by small steps.
Yeah, yeah. What I can say, and Juliana alluded to this a little bit, and if you look at some of the numbers, we are normalizing again in terms of what's happening in Door County. It's like a big, a heart monitor. In 2021, we jumped, and I don't know if we will ever hit some of the numbers that we did in 2021. And that normalization is really what's been happening the last couple of years. Overall economic activity, though, has, other than 2020, we've kind of normalized out and back to that incremental gain. So.
All right. Anyone else with any questions for John? None? All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks again, Juliana.
Thanks, John.
Thank you to Tanya for also attending our meeting. You can stick around for the rest of the evening if you like. Otherwise, you can be excused. Again, thank you. All right. So moving right along here to pending business, our EMR bylaws and members and all that. Mr. Olson, if you want to take that away.
Sure, sure. So the EMR committee, Ashley and I met last week. We reviewed the bylaw amendments, all the suggestions from the board, went through, adjusted the bylaws. There is a copy in your packet. Ashley also gave the statistics so far in the year. Through June 1st, we had 89 calls with an 81% response rate so far. So big increase over last year, doing very well in the response rate. Like I mentioned, the bylaws are in your packet here with all the changes that were brought up. Do we want to go through those? I hit the wrong one.
Anybody have any questions on the changes?
They're highlighted.
The
They are
changes are
yes.
highlighted, and I
Yeah.
think you've caught everything that we discussed last month,
Yeah.
so.
Excellent. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think we hit everything. Some are going to be a challenge. One of the ones that we brought up was vehicle insurance. So every EMR is supposed to turn in their personal vehicle insurance, so that, and I believe so that the town is ensuring that they have insurance. We also say that they have to follow all road laws, so it's kind of a double hit on the same issue. But we've asked them to make sure that they turn that in. We didn't put a specific time on that. We just said, make sure you have active insurance here. I think it's going to kind of, we'll be on the town a little bit. We'll have a big list of all the insurance of all the people that are in it. And then we'll just have to hope, hopefully that we don't get into a different liability situation with that. I guess the other issue that we wanted to bring up, currently the cap on EMRs is 20 people. We have 21 active members. We discussed whether we wanted to remove people who maybe haven't attended a call within a year, but then we have certain issues where people just can't attend calls certain times. One good example is Cheryl Feaster, who used to be a teacher at Sevastopol. Now she's at Sturgeon Bay. She can't attend during the school year because she can't leave school. But now, after the school year, this summer now, she's been on several calls, so been a great asset. And also, calls happen, you need to have a call happen near you when you're available to respond. So I don't want to, my vote would be for not reducing the number of EMRs and maybe looking at lifting the cap or raising the cap to 25 or so. I mean, it's something maybe we can discuss outside of this. I know this one is more just bylaws, but, yeah, and then, go ahead.
Have the bylaws been approved? Have you run this new version past the EMRs?
Yes.
And they're,
We had a meeting last week, Wednesday, but we did not have quorum. We were too short on quorum. But they do have it. They were told to review if they have any questions about anything in there, any suggestions, any changes they would like made, that they could email me. I've not received any concerns at this point, but Trent and I did vote on them for approval at the last committee meeting.
okay. So regarding the bylaws, I guess we would look for a motion to accept those pending approval by
Ashley,
the
grab that.
EMR committee.
Yeah, need the mic.
Can I just make
Sure.
one more point on one of the
Yep.
things that were changed? Sorry.
Sorry.
So I know one of the concerns was still having that interview process in there. But having an interview at an actual agency meeting is hard because, again, in order to make a recommendation or a vote on someone, we need to have that quorum, which can be very difficult to have at a meeting, which is why we have opted to go more towards trainings versus meetings. So Trent and I had come up with, we will still hold the interview process, but we'll do that at a committee meeting. Members of the agency are welcome to sit in on those processes and give their input. But at the end of the day, Trent and I will make that motion, because otherwise we may have somebody who applies in January, and we bring them in meeting after meeting to interview, and if we don't have quorum, technically they can't be approved. So it may be December before they would actually get approved. And most people at that point are gonna be like, never mind, it's not worth my time, and just kind of give up. So we're still allowing the members to have some input, but just trying to speed that process up so that they can become a member and be actively participating.
Is that addressed in the bylaws here?
It is,
Trent?
yes.
Yep, that was
Exactly
one of
what page
Yeah,
or
where?
section are we on?
Selection of new members.
Selection of new
There we
members.
go, on
Ah,
page,
okay.
page 35 of your packet.
35.
Yeah.
They're all page 4 on mine.
Okay. Oh, okay, the highlighted part.
Yes.
So
Yep.
with a copy of the committee will review applications. Does our clerk have any problem with that?
That should be fine. But my question is then for the trainings, is that something that they do have to have an agenda for or not?
We would still, so our plan is, we would call it as an agency meeting. If we don't get quorum, we're still going to follow the agenda of the agency meeting in training. And then afterwards, they can go into additional training that would be more, I guess, EMR specific, but less business. So we are still going to do those. We'll still keep minutes on those. So those minutes get sent to me. I don't know if you'll want the minutes of the trainings. I guess when it's town business, I mean, we do have, or I guess, agency business, we do have minutes on those that I can turn in, but there wouldn't be anything that would be HIPAA violations or personal information in those, but we're happy to share those as well. Is that something that we should be turning in?
Correct, because I
Okay.
think at the last meeting, Jan had mentioned that the minutes need to be taken in the trainings. If there's, we can keep out all of the HIPAA names, addresses, all of that stuff. But we would still need the minutes from the meetings. Is that how you understood it, Linda?
Okay, yep,
Right.
and I think that's
Yep, so our
completely.
big thing with going from meetings to trainings is that we can still have that training opportunity and that face-to-face with our members without having quorum. Because right now, if we have a meeting and we don't have quorum, technically we didn't have a meeting. So the trainings just gives us a little more flexibility there that we can still, we're not going to vote on anything. We won't be electing any officers or anything like that if we don't have quorum. But it still allows us to discuss the items on the agenda without that quorum.
Right.
That's reasonable.
Yes, you can definitely have discussion
reasonable.
without taking action on anything.
Right.
If there's a lack of a quorum. The minutes, now it's my understanding you will be provided with the minutes and then you report
Yes,
to the
and I'll
board
forward them to-
on
yes.
those items,
Yep,
correct?
exactly, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, any other concerns from anyone else?
I did
just-
want, sorry. No, you go ahead, Mark.
I just got one question on like paying for meetings and training. Is there a difference in pay? Are we paying for either one of those?
I believe it's 17 an hour regardless of training.
If
or
it's
meeting.
training or meeting?
Correct.
You're correct.
So it doesn't matter if it's one or the other then?
No,
Okay, just want to make sure that if all of a sudden you're calling a meeting and you don't have enough.
right,
if
yeah,
you're
no, the
getting
pay
short-
should be the
Getting
same
short
for
because
both
you're
of
not
those.
getting paid correct one way or the other.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I did want to go back to the new member thing. By the time they do the interview, all the town pay, or all the necessary new hire paperwork is already turned into Amy. So that way, we have a record of who the person is before the interview. The town is aware, so if there's any issues before, anything that would prevent us from being able to hire them, that'll already have gone through Amy before it gets to the committee. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll go back to my question. I would look for a motion to accept these pending approval by the EMR or
So
not?
we
Or
really
we're
don't
just-
need
We
to
can
do
just
that.
accept them.
Yeah, we're allowed to just accept that. I mean, really, the committee's allowed to make the amendment. So we've amended these, we've approved them through the committee process, but we would appreciate the board to approve them as well.
Like ratifying them or
Yes.
something?
Yep, exactly.
Okay, let's do
Yes.
that, yes. Can we
Okay.
say ratify?
Sure.
Motion to ratify the EMR bylaws as submitted this evening. Does that sound okay with everybody?
Sure.
Okay, who would-
Okay, sure, so I'll make that motion to ratify the EMR bylaws dated, what is that, oh, sorry, dated June 9th, 2025.
Second?
All right, any further discussion on that? Anything you wanted to add, Ashley? Good to go? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that motion is carried. Thank you for all your work on that.
All right, thank you. And I'd like to
And Amy,
thank
too.
Ashley as well.
Yep.
She's
Yep.
done a great job of looking through this, making sure that we're current with all the laws and everything like that. So thank you very much, Ashley.
Okay, great. Okay, the newsletter, our summer newsletter, we hope to get a summer newsletter out by August 1st. So I've gathered up several articles. Some of us are still missing our articles, though. I'll mention names. Our clerk, Amy.
By Wednesday, by Wednesday, Linda. By Wednesday.
And Mr. Hain on the park upgrades, and Mr. Olson on the town ordinances, and Ms. Vogel on where we're sitting with AT&T.
Things, yeah.
I'm waiting on a couple others, just details, but if you could please get those to me. Any photographs, please, a JPEG file is nice for photographs, if you wanted to submit any. So it'll be just an 8-page newsletter this time as opposed to our 12-page that we did last year. So, okay? All right, thank you. All right, driveway permit application, been on the agenda for a couple meetings now. So we have Mike and Jim Parent here on their request for a driveway. Yes, Amy, if you want to scroll down to that. Probably the map on page 39 or 40 is probably the best way to start. I'll just recap. Rockridge Development, or the parents on behalf of Rockridge Development, are requesting access to their 2 parcels. I don't have my pointer. You know what I used last week for last time was a candy, or a plastic candy cane.
Microphone.
We're gonna get you a
Okay,
buzzer.
so the parents are requesting access to their, and correct me if I'm wrong, they're requesting access to their 2 parcels. This is Lot 1, Lot 2, and Lot 3 of a CSM, right? So they are requesting access, I hope I'm not standing in
It's okay.
anybody's way,
We have that.
off of Rock Ridge Road. So we have a cul-de-sac on the end of Rock Ridge Road. It's no outlet, dead end, it was an intentional cul-de-sac there. So they're requesting a driveway off of the northernmost part of the cul-de-sac to this parcel, and then all the way over to serve this parcel and this parcel, correct? And from previous meetings, and we have the neighbors here, it was the intent that it would be a cul-de-sac with not a through street, and we have families and kids and dogs and walkers and everything. So a cul-de-sac is kind of like, you know it's going to be a dead end. So our problem, or we were proposing that there is already an easement to these 2 parcels created by the parents, correct, with your CSM, that would serve those 2 parcels off of County P as to opposed to creating a new driveway off the cul-de-sac. So that is our quandary.
So on, ask questions?
Maybe we'll hear from the neighbors first, and thank you for attending once again. So if any of the neighbors, if you would just state your name and your feelings on that.
Can they use the,
And if you want to, well, I don't know where you can remove that microphone
Yeah,
from
I
the
just-
stand there. Tom, if you want to grab the microphone off the podium, just, yeah, there you go. All right, great, thank you.
Whoever wants to speak.
Yeah, just state your name and one at a time, whoever wishes to speak.
Okay, my name is Tom Burka. I'm at 4485 Rockridge Road. I think this is the third town board meeting we've attended, and the parents have stated that they were not being allowed to form access off of P at the westernmost property. I think we've been calling it property number 1. And I think the ball was in their court to get some kind of communication from county stating that they were going to be denied access. And I'd like to know if the parents have gotten any communication from the county on that matter.
I can respond to that. We were provided with an email from our Door County Highway Patrol Superintendent, Randy Dvorak, and I'll just briefly summarize that with regard to the driveway permit requested for the lot off of County P near the intersection with Country View, which is to the north side of County P. The County Highway Department is denying that access point because of a safety issue, such as poor visibility because of the hill, and the speed timings does not meet our standards. Also, there is a private easement road, and that is the one I just referred to, the green L, to that property that would be better suited, and per county policy, you are to use a roadway less traveled for your driveway, if that is an option. So that was his response.
They can use the one that's on the screen.
Yes.
Correct.
May I ask?
Microphone,
And hold it
I
nice.
beat
Can I
Judy
ask
to
you
it.
guys a couple questions? I hate that this is so adversarial, and, you know, I just have some questions. I live right here, okay? And our lot is 2 lots, okay? H and I. And on the other side of Marty was 2 lots, okay? And I'm not, I don't want to speak for you guys. You may think I'm lost my mind. My problem is this lot. In order for you to access this lot, you have to come down my property line. I have no idea how wide an access road has to be. Dozens of 90-foot maple trees will be destroyed from there to wherever it is there to get to the point where you put in driveways and houses, okay? And if they put a house on this lot, I can guarantee you within a couple of months, the town council is going to hear a complaint from these people about motorcycles driving up and down this road almost every single night. It's not too big of a deal when you live here. If your house is there, well, that's a whole other meeting, and you guys can talk about that later. I guess my question is there a, I understand you guys have money invested in this. You make more money if you develop 2 lots. If you were to develop 1 lot, if you were to do with this what you do with our property, or a house, you don't destroy dozens and dozens of 90-foot maple trees. You have 1 house added to the neighborhood, not 2. And I'm more comfortable with that. And I don't know if, I don't want to speak for you guys. I don't know if you are or not, but this is the odd piece to me. Developing this, I'm not a developer, preacher. But it seems you guys to develop, okay? So that's my question, is how, are you, and maybe you guys want to challenge me, are you committed to doing to 2 lots? That seems to me to be the problem in terms of what it does to the woods that we live in.
Okay. Okay, so it would be a little unusual for us to have conversation back and forth, but yeah, I think in this instance, it's a good idea.
After
So
three
if
meetings,
the
we're all set.
parents don't mind, we'll hear,
It's already on.
no, that's okay, yeah.
Would you want to buy the Westerly lot? Then we wouldn't have to go so far? But then you would feel it'd be all right to come in off the cul-de-sac then for that one, for one lot.
It just seems to me that it retains the integrity of
Right,
the
it does,
space
right.
in a way that what you're offering to do splits the woods in half, puts roads right on our property
Sure.
line. Sure that back is valued, I mean, I'm not gonna build a house on that,
Right.
back there. If I lost my mind, I mean, you guys,
They need to,
I guess the question really is, why do you think the driveway off of Rock Ridge cul-de-sac would be better than a driveway off of County P? I know you mentioned it would be more convenient and less distance for your driveway, but we can't always be around convenience just because it's more convenient, and you'd have less of an investment because it's a shorter driveway. When you already have an easement, I believe that easement was created back in 2002, 2003, probably to serve those two parcels, so
I think the easement was created because my dad at the time was told that he couldn't use,
oh, okay.
yeah, well,
so he did, I think he did
He
as
was
a
told
defensive
then.
move at the time.
All right, did you get your questions answered, Mr. Ingram?
microphone.
Okay.
Microphone.
All right, then let's pass the, all right,
I wanted to raise the question more than anything.
okay. Would anybody else like to address that? I know we have several other neighbors here.
Can we make a deal? What about if we combine those two lots, sell it as one, but then have the opportunity to come in off the cul-de-sac with one driveway for that one parcel, or make it one parcel? We could go out a little further and stay away from this, close to this gentleman here.
So you're suggesting to combine lots 1 and 2 into one parcel, and you have to do that through, obviously, a recorded document. One driveway off the northwest corner of the cul-de-sac to the north of, and other conditions out there, that there will be no change to the property, single-family residential, 20,000 square feet only. One single-family residence on the parcel. As when it comes to construction, any crack-off of the cul-de-sac pavement, you would be responsible for that. Like I said, that parcel would not be subdivided. Single-family residential use only. Anyone else?
Lot 2 doesn't even apply to cul-de-sac, right?
Correct.
So
Lot,
whatever this would be, would they have access to do that also?
the request was for a driveway off of Lot 3, which is to the right, and then a driveway across Lots 2 and ending up in Lot 1. So the driveway would actually come off of Lot 3 at the top of the cul-de-sac, go over to Lots 1 and 2, correct?
Yeah, it would just extend the, coming off of the cul-de-sac going to the north, it would go a little further than we had originally proposed, so it would stay away from this gentleman's line a little more towards the middle of the lot, and then that would stay away from you. It would only be one house in there, like you said, and then that would not, we had talked at an earlier time about the road crossing the property line would not be used for anything else or extend any other way except to serve that.
Correct. It would never be a through street. It would never connect up to the L-shaped easement or the vertical easement on the right. That was a condition as well.
Do we talk about getting rid of the easement that surrounds Jerry's property? The first easement, do we talk about?
That-
There no
Yeah,
need
so
for it.
just take it off
And
the,
it's a private easement. It wasn't an easement created by the town. It's a private easement that belongs to you. So, yeah, that would be up to you. Okay, microphone.
Yes. Cheryl Burka, and I live at 4485 Rockridge Road. So, if this
Take
becomes
the mic with you, yeah.
one lot, you don't need that easement back here.
that's what,
Yes.
That's what
Yeah.
we just
Right, we
said.
just,
Yeah,
we
that-
just
that's what-
mentioned that.
that would be
Right.
gone completely.
But that is a private easement developed by
not
the
for us.
parents. The town has no control over that
There's
easement.
no reason for us to have a driveway coming off of Rockridge Road,
Not if you utilize that L-shaped
shorter.
easement.
right? If he makes it one piece of property.
So you're saying that they could utilize the private easement
Absolutely.
to
Off-
the point,
off P.
off of P,
Off P.
to the point where it intersects with that lot. That's legitimate.
Right?
well, it also, if you look at Randy Vorik's letter, it does say, easement road to that property that would be better suited and per county policy, you are to use a roadway less traveled for your driveway if that is an option. So we all know that County P is not the less traveled roadway in this scenario. So it'll be shorter if you come off the cul-de-sac and go to the center of Lot 2. Where you can see where the little trail comes in now, you're gonna go a little further north than that, I would suppose, right?
And you're just now talking about one lot.
Well, then to serve the large Lot 3 on the right, if and when that's developed, has no consequence as to what we're talking about now. That a
Mike?
driveway off the cul-de-sac would only serve the combined Lot 1 and 2. Okay, yes, Marie?
Marie Verbrick, 4570 Rock Ridge Road. My question is, if you give them the permit to put the driveway through, what's to guarantee that they will follow through and put a house there? They've started all these other projects and nothing's ever been followed through. Now, last year, we had a bunch of dirt bikers that got wind that it went through to that open section of land there, and they're coming up Rockridge Road through my property into that, and then turning around and coming back down our road.
Into,
That's what they were trying to stop.
into the property on the right-hand side?
They were coming up Rockridge Road
Uh-huh.
through the fence line into there
Oh.
and doing their things and
Okay.
coming back out this way.
Because it's mowed, there's like paths mowed
Right.
and everything like that.
What's the guarantee that they're gonna follow through and build a house there? Or are we gonna look at a driveway that's done and abandoned?
Right, that would depend on whether it sells or not.
Yes.
How many acres would that be? Three?
Combination of the two?
Uh-huh, 4 acres?
No, it's a 3.
Okay, any other comments? All right, board?
This is what wasn't on the agenda.
Well, one more
It
question.
is on the agenda.
Well, not this
Oh,
scenario.
okay, we have one more. One more. And your Tammy,
Oh, Sam.
No, Sam Mikolajczyk, 4482 Rock Ridge Road. So this is our first meeting, so we're trying to catch up here, but I just have a question. If we get rid of this,
and they're coming in here because it's shorter, what's going to happen with all of this? Because this is still the less traveled road for all of this. I mean, is that going to open up for future, I mean, like, are we going to have a lot of driveways coming off of there?
No, that easement will stay, and that property that you're pointing to the right is going to be developed off of that easement.
And there's an existing driveway serving that parcel already.
Right.
There's a gravel, you've probably seen the gravel
Right,
driveway.
I saw that. But there's an existing for this too. I guess I'm just confused why that wouldn't.
Well, just remember that it's an easement. I mean,
Yeah, it's not,
town
it's
has
not
nothing to
developed.
do with it. It's just a self-created easement.
So then we're just talking about one residence.
Well, if we talk about all these conditions, the driveway would only serve the combination of lots 1 and 2. It will never be a through street. It will never serve lot 3 and all these other conditions that we talked about. Does that answer it? Okay, thank you.
Again, against protocol. To respond to what Marie said, is there any possibility that the road is not built until the property is sold and plans are made for a house? I mean, do you need to build the road first? Or I mean, can you just tell us that, you know, if the property sells, if there's a plan to build a house, then at that point you'll have one house with the easement off the cul-de-sac, rather than build a house that invites the bikers?
Mr. Schuster, you look like you want to say something.
He's not at all.
Okay.
I mean, we would like to have the driveway in to market the property to show that there's a
that
driveway
makes
going
sense.
in there, because people won't believe us if we don't.
Well, you know, your other option is to come off the easement. Come off your easement. This would be your other option.
Microphone,
If
Linda.
this come right here, there's already a driveway here on P. Just shoot over.
Yeah, that's gonna, no, that's not a deal.
It's cutting the property in
He's
half.
cutting property.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Do we know why the cul-de-sac easement was denied, or driveway was denied back when you said it was? In 2000, 2002? I was here in 2002, but I don't remember.
It's not.
Was it actually brought to the board, or?
Yeah.
See,
Okay.
It was,
All right.
yeah, I don't think it was ever actually denied by the board. They were just told that it's not gonna go through and to
Yeah.
use the other easements.
Not bother with it, probably. Well, okay, one more.
With the condition of the driveway, if the lot sells. Now, all of us on that road went and previewed our lots before any driveways were put in. Now, why couldn't the people who potentially buy that lot do the same thing? Once it's written, signed, sealed, delivered, then put it in just like everybody else did.
The driveway.
Well, is it a driveway or is it a roadway? What's it, when it comes off the cul-de-sac, is that considered a driveway or is that extending Rock Ridge Road? That's
I
just
think
a
it would be
private
considered a
driveway?
driveway under the premise that the cul-de-sac does touch Lot 3. I had a problem with that because I thought it was actually right-of-way, but the survey does show that the cul-de-sac goes all the way to the property line. All right. What do you think? Well, the neighbors, if we had those conditions and they would be in writing, it would be a memorandum of understanding in writing, you'd be okay with that, the parents, right? Mike?
Yes.
And Jim? Yes. Or are you strictly saying no deal?
I think the stipulation that Denise proposed
Microphone.
They may buy the lot, but they may not build for a year. Or 3.
Yeah, that's true. And our driveway, well, in our, we have standards for our driveway permits, so they have to be 12 feet wide. They have to have a clearance. Let's see, they have to, a minimum road service of 12 feet wide, a width clearance of 24 feet, but there aren't any trees in that area. But when you get into your woods, you'd have to have clearance because you'd want access for an emergency vehicle and all that, and a height clearance. I don't think a culvert would be required there. I don't think there would be a drainage issue, but. So, I mean, you're looking at least a 12-foot wide driveway. I mean, if that is a possibility, if that could be a compromise, we could come up with a memorandum of understanding. Or if it's strictly dead in the water, and we insist on the easement off P.
I think if it's come down to zoning and it's legal, I don't see how we can say no.
I agree. I think our hands are.
Off of Rock Ridge, you mean?
Yeah, if it's legal, they can put a driveway on the piece of property, they own it. I mean, this is a zoning thing. I mean, they're meeting all the requirements. If they meet the requirements and we put the stipulations, or, I don't know why we can deny them putting a driveway on their piece of their property.
I'd say they're being generous by offering to combine that to one lot. I think that's pretty reasonable. And like you said, I mean, our hands are tied, I believe, because if they're saying your driveway should come off the lower, the one with lower activity, that's Rock Ridge.
County would like,
And
yeah.
it touches the right-of-way of the road.
But they also already have an easement off of County P.
They do. And as,
Lots 1 and 2 do not touch the cul-de-sac.
no, they don't, but I mean, there's nothing from preventing them to put a driveway on their property on Lot 3.
The driveway would be on Lot 3.
Yes.
Curving over to serve the combined Lot 1 and 2.
But the question is, does it have to connect to the cul-de-sac? I mean, they put a driveway, but do they have access to the cul-de-sac?
Yeah, no, really, the way the survey is that the right-of-way of the cul-de-sac goes right to their property line. It'd be one thing if we were crossing somebody else's property, but they're not. They're not asking for a right-of-way over somebody else's. They're asking for a right-of-way over their own property.
Microphone.
I'll speak loud. Lot 3 could be served by the bold green easement to County P.
It could,
It
Correct.
is.
yes, it is.
Okay. So, serving Lot 3 with a driveway from the north end of the cul-de-sac isn't an option, because the easement is in place to serve Lot 3. Lots 1 and 2 do not touch the cul-de-sac. It would
Correct.
be an exception that we, as owners, could consider. I don't believe they have the right to request a driveway for lots 1 and 2 because it does not touch.
It's not contiguous to them.
It does not touch the cul-de-sac.
Right, yeah.
So we're kind of mixing access here.
But they're not, They're not crossing anybody else's property but their own. They own all the property.
At this point, yes, but they're trying to sell two of those.
Well, obviously, they'll have to have an easement put in for when they sell lot 1 and 2 and 3,
A private easement.
private easement.
Yeah, so the buyer of combines lot 1 and 2 would have an exclusive easement to the driveway that crosses lot 3.
And if you've built a house, you also know that where they place houses is where they determine where their driveway would be, right?
No, not at all. No. These driveways zigzag through, I mean, that doesn't make one bit of difference. You can put a house in.
We're talking about short distance and serving that, yes.
I mean, it's-
Positioning of houses and how they sit on lots.
Would the address, I guess this would be a question for GIS listing, if the address would be a Rock Ridge Road address?
It would have to be.
Right,
It would
if the
have to be.
driveway is coming off of.
Coming off of it.
Yes.
Another question is, if they put the driveway off Rock Ridge Road into Lot 3 to go into 2 and 1, wouldn't they have to access part of Lot 3 into Lot 2 to make their driveway?
No, it's an easement.
No.
That's a
It's an easement.
Yeah.
private
It's a
easement for
private
them.
easement.
And as Mr. Haynes said, they own all of the properties, so they can give an easement wherever they wish.
Does it mean that, if you look at the other easement, they're doing the same thing? They're going from the first easement, going around Jerry's property there. They're already doing that. I like I say, you know how I feel. I just don't think we can say no because they want to put a driveway from their property to their property. And if they're meeting all the criteria that zoning and everything else, I don't see how we can say no.
Mark, I think you're missing the point. If you're coming off Rock Ridge, this little point right here is what you're missing. 1 and 2 do not connect to the Rock Ridge Road.
Okay, so tell me the difference, if we're going to sit and argue about it, tell me the difference of that 90-degree easement. What's the difference? That doesn't touch County P over there, it doesn't touch number 4 or number 17. That doesn't touch,
That's their access to their land.
that's a private easement,
Stretch it right into here and come into Lot 2.
or they come off Rock Ridge.
Touches Lot 3. They've got access to 3.
They're not, and we already said they're not going to get access to 3 from Rock Ridge. We know that.
It'd be one lot
That
now.
would be a condition.
That's a condition.
So it'd be one lot, because they agreed to make
Curbing
two lots
going
into one.
And they don't need access to Lot 3 from Rock Ridge because they've got it to P.
Yep.
They don't
exactly.
want,
If you came off of P, you wouldn't have to combine the lots. Right?
true.
You know, the thing is, they're trying to continue this neighborhood. So that road continues to a neighborhood. It goes into a quiet part instead of coming off of County P, off of a busy road. That's still at the bottom of that hill.
At the bottom of that hill, though, I have been driving that recently and really paying attention. When that hill, when you come up that hill, it plateaus, okay? And you can actually see the signs that say there is a perpendicular or a crossroad that comes to County P. We have, I was a home health nurse, so I drove all over the county. There are hidden driveway signs everywhere in the county where there are hills and driveways and that kind of thing. There's signage. So I kind of feel like, we're being bullied into saying that we want this, or we should allow this for our little neighborhood.
Well, okay, so on the other hand, what are we gonna police? Do you want us to police them slowing down so they don't get run over on County P?
They're not gonna get run over on County P,
Then why are we worried about the motorbikes coming in? Because that's illegal. They're doing something illegal. We're not the police. Again, I had to say this at my meeting the other night. We are not the police. We're not here to police these neighborhoods. If there's a problem, 911, call them. So people don't, I have a hard time slowing down a hill. I'm not gonna lie to you. I lived there for 10 years. It's terrible. 5 years, 6 years. It's terrible there. Doesn't matter. I'm done arguing about it, because you know my point is, if it's legal, if it's by zoning and by all the letters of the law,
And
I don't see we can deny it.
disappoint the people that live in that neighborhood.
Well, if the parents didn't own Lot 3, we wouldn't even be here, because lots 1 and 2 wouldn't even touch the cul-de-sac. And then they would have to access off of P. Right?
Yeah, or purchase the land, yeah.
Right.
And there is a state statute that says you cannot deny access to property if you're adjacent to property owned by a town, village. You cannot deny access. Or a county.
Or a
Unless the
county.
Unless the
That's
county
right.
says the highway is too busy, which it said.
Well,
So I think we should either vote on this one way or the other, or do something. We could sit here all night and bring up instances and circumstances and things that are gonna happen.
okay, I see 2 scenarios that we have: a motion to approve the driveway conditioned upon a memorandum of understanding or agreement with the points to be outlined, or it's a flat-out no.
I will make that first motion. Do you not want me to spell it out?
I can do it other way, yeah.
Go ahead.
Make the motion to approve driveway with the conditions of letter of memorandum, that we're understanding,
To be
to be addressed,
drafted and approved by
town board,
the
parents,
board
and
and the owners.
Yeah.
Well, we
We
could
should-
have a second, just for discussion purposes.
I'll second. I do think we should list out those conditions, though.
Okay,
That was
well,
the-
let's put the conditions in just a
Yes.
rough draft of the conditions.
Sure. There,
That it would be access to combined lots 1 and 2
so we start with they had-
from
need to
a
combine them.
driveway on Lot 3 at the end of the cul-de-sac on Rock Ridge Road. Lots 1 and 2 would be combined into one parcel. Shall remain SF 20, so single-family, 20,000 square feet, no zoning change.
One house.
One single-family residence.
Is that redundant,
Just-
Linda? If it's zoned a certain way, you can
No,
only
because
have,
you can have, SF 20, you could have,
You can have 2 homes.
you could have an accessory dwelling, you could have a
okay,
secondary unit, you know. One single-family dwelling, and of course, a garage or whatever. Shall never be a through street to County P. Shall never serve Lot 3. The area shall be kept in good condition and appearance. If it came to the point of construction and there was crack off of the pavement on the end of the cul-de-sac, owner would be responsible. And again, once combined, they would never be subdivided.
one more, then, per what they said, they would give up the easement off of County P, which would help eliminate the chance that it would ever become a
Oh,
through street. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you have all that, Amy?
does that make sense to you guys? I mean,
And that's still agreeable to you?
One thing,
No.
just one question. County zoning allows for an accessory building.
You mean as in a storage building or a utility?
Whatever the zoning would allow.
Yes, right. Yeah. Once you have a principal residence established, you could have a storage building. All right, we have a motion and a second. I'm going to ask the neighbors if there's anything else you want to see in that compromise.
The driveway's not created until the lots are sold. A lot, because it's now one lot. A lot is sold.
Until combined lot 1 and 2 is sold. Or under contract for sale.
You guys been up on top of the hill with the bluff houses? I mean, there's a full driveway road going in there. I mean,
Are you talking about Quarry Bluff?
yeah, Quarry Bluff, you know.
It's
I
all
mean,
paved and everything, culvert.
You're indicating that people
Curbing.
want to see what they're buying. Is that
Yeah,
what you're saying, Mark?
yeah.
They can walk there, they can park at the end of the cul-de-sac and walk in.
That's how we bought it.
That's how we bought it.
Us too.
Good point. Another couple.
Okay,
Is that a big,
Okay, they agreed. They agreed. No driveway till sold, they just agreed.
all right, I guess we're ready for a vote. So this is the motion to grant the permit, conditioned upon all the items we just mentioned. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I oppose. Jeannie, did you vote in favor?
I did.
All right, that motion is carried with a vote of 3-1. We will come up with an agreement for you, run it past, I'll pick maybe Denise as a couple contacts, and then you can disperse it. And likewise, the parents will come up with something. All right. Yep, you're welcome. What is your, I don't know what our time frame will be, but soon to get a memorandum of understanding?
As soon as you can, I mean, not in a huge hurry, but.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, whatever.
We'll talk to the surveyor about combining the lots right away.
Yep.
And that's really what we have to do. And
Okay.
then decide to market it as the value of it as a combined lot and get it for sale sign up.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for your patience. We're going to miss you next month. Would you come and visit us anyway? I don't know. All right.
don't worry, Mike, I'll see plenty of on projects. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Ordinance Committee update. Mr. Olson, take it away.
All right, so we did have an ordinance committee meeting. We went through, there's several of the, what we called Section 4 ordinances. Those are the ones that need to be rewritten. Linda did a great job. She rewrote 3 of those and put them in draft form under the noxious weeds, a burning ordinance, and a combination of all the snowmobile ordinances. And then Amy as well rewrote the voting hours, just to make it so that it matches up with what we have. And I'm working on the Whitefish Bay boat launch ordinance, and that one I'll have a little bit of conversation with the parks, with Mark and the Parks Department on. So our goal, we'll meet again in August, go through kind of final drafts of these, and then present them to the board for the August meeting would be the hope. We'll send them in, and if the agenda allows for it, we'd like these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ordinances. I'll submit them as official submittals for ordinances to the board.
Okay.
So, yeah.
July or August?
August, we didn't have a July meeting planned.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
yep.
right. All right, sounds good. Road work. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, you see the estimates there. Oh, before we get into that, I'm going to go back to Mr. Schuster's request. I think we can handle this under road work. I don't know, I guess an access lane falls under road work. So can it just be the consensus that we would have no objection to Mr. Schuster going in there on his own time and on his own dime, and just brush that out to allow for parking and avoid the parking hazards on the street?
I would say only if he clears out this sign.
Yeah.
You can't even see our new
Can't see
signs.
the
Oh,
sign.
with clearing out around the sign.
Thank you, Bill.
Okay, so we're all okay with that?
Absolutely.
All right,
Yes,
thank
yeah.
you.
And I'll also volunteer to go and give him a hand with that.
Oh, great,
Yep.
great, Trent, thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And
So you can just reach out to Bill.
I will.
So
Yes, yeah.
if, the one thing, let's touch real quick on this. If you need a, I don't know if Bill's gonna take the brush, or if we're gonna take the brush. If we need a place to take the brush, we have a permit in town.
Yep.
But
at
you
the
have to
compost
use,
site.
you have to use the town truck.
Oh, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
It's
Okay.
permitted to that license plate, correct?
Oh, gotcha,
Jamie?
okay, excellent.
So if you wanted to, meet Bill or take the truck down and meet him or something.
Okay,
load the
perfect,
back
thank
of
you.
the truck, just make sure the boys aren't sitting in it when you do it.
Right, yeah,
They might be mad if you push them out.
excellent, okay, thank you, yeah.
They might be in there having lunch or something.
Yeah. And
Okay, all right, and
I have.
he
one-
can drive, right? He can operate the truck? Can anybody operate the truck on behalf of the town? As a town
He
employee?
can, Trent can because he is covered under our insurance,
all right.
and not so much
Not
Bill.
Bill, yeah.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
And before we get into numbers, I did have one issue that came up from our road day. We talked about the Ray Paul barn raising that's on Whitefish Bay Road. He did, he got a letter that said he had 30 days to have it taken down. I got talked to by the construction person who Ray reached out to tear down the barn. And he's asking for more time. They said what they want to do.
And that's perfectly
Okay,
fine. We
all right.
just have to see some sort of
See some
progress.
movement, yeah.
Yep, okay,
Yep.
yep. Yeah, so that's what I was going to ask, if we could increase to 90 days. Okay, I'll let the construction person know that they're okay. But yeah, they said with turning off power, dumpster availability, and the construction schedule, it was just too tight of a
Reasonable.
window, so.
Okay, since Trent brought that up, I also got a call from the guys that are working at Mrs. Mann on up the road. And they said the exact same thing. They're like, really, we only get 30 days? I said, no. I said, you don't get only 30
Okay.
days. I said, we need to see movement. We need to see something.
In 30 days.
So
Gotcha.
they're two retired guys, and they're slowly but surely taking pieces out, and they're cleaning. So I told them, I said, as long as you don't just take what you want and leave,
Yeah,
continued progress. So
okay,
they're
excellent.
also working on that one, too.
All right, okay, thank you.
All right, good. So,
So they do work, Amy.
all
They
right,
always work.
let's look at this road work. So if you add up all these numbers, it's like, I don't know,
Lots.
$500,000 or
1.8 billion.
$750,000. I kind of picked out a few that I thought
I
we
did
could
too.
work with. So my suggestion would be the first one, Whitefish Bay from 42 to County HH, and I kind of, did, okay, that has more traffic than some of the other ones. So there's 200 grand.
Yep,
And then Matthew, from 57 to P, it is so bumpy and so bad. But it's a lot of money. I mean, that's 200,000. So those two projects just ate
Takes
up
care of it,
400,000. But I would also like to see Erdman Drive done, and I think we could do, I don't know, do we really need to mill that? Can we just do an overlay? It's only $4,000 difference, so I suppose to just mill it
think
and
just
do it right.
Yeah. Well, I personally think, I got my
Oh,
piece of
part of
paper at home I
Walker.
forgot to bring tonight because I was in a rush from the baseball game, but I think the Whitefish Bay, the 200,000, my opinion, don't do that one.
Don't do,
I would think we do the Whitefish Bay, the second option from the fire number to HH,
okay.
because that's the, that's the ups and downs and hills.
All right, so that would be, I'm going to round these up, 64,000.
And then that Walker Road section,
yep, I want Walker.
it'd be nice to do that Walker Road section for 167.
Oh, that one, yeah. Yep, that's the one I had in mind, yep.
Okay, we're at 231. Okay, Amy has a, go ahead, Mark, and then we'll
And
have
I
Amy.
think the Matthew Road from Rip to County P is way worse than Rip to the highway. So I think, I was, dang, I wish I had my paper, I had it all written up here.
I
So
I
that
think you-
76,000 option, I think we do that.
North to County
So
P.
I had it all, and I put it all in an Excel sheet so I could play with the numbers and have one, and I think I was on the same, so I had do, the Whitefish Bay partial, the Walker all, Matthew from Rip to P, Erdman and Edwards, and what that does, that totals us to 337,223.
Yes, that's what I
And my
got.
thought was then we could use that to go further down Whitefish, probably, based on what we had, another 2,100 feet. But then we would need to get another quote on that to be sure, but it should take us another 2,100 feet down that road,
So instead of 2150, we would go
like 40,
2500 or,
no, 4,200,
oh,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
2,000.
Because the total difference, I think, is like 7,000.
Yeah, we do like
Yeah.
three-quarters of a mile instead of that, less than half a
So
mile.
instead of the 63,786, you would do additional, that would bring it to what?
It would bring it to a total of, 126,553. We would use whatever's left of the 400,000, but we would get, 4,200 feet of it. So that would be a very good section of that.
Amy, what did you,
Randy, when he dropped this off, he just wanted everyone to know that obviously doing less than a mile and getting all of the trucks and everything out there
Equipment.
is going to be more expensive than completing a full mile of a road.
Okay.
Which makes what you're saying about, it was Walker, right?
okay.
No, it
so
wasn't.
Extending
Whitefish,
Whitefish.
So-
That makes more,
Mark and
sense, yeah.
Trent, are you kind of on the same page?
Yeah, exactly.
Would you repeat that
Sure.
slowly
Yes, sir.
so that
I know.
I got it, all right?
That is a problem I
Say
get
the
at every
road.
week work presentation I do. They're like, all right, you gotta slow down, you're just a numbers guy,
Okay,
so yeah.
so Whitefish Bay,
Let me
Let's-
start with
let's-
Walker.
okay.
Let's,
Oh,
yeah,
all
let's
right.
say put
Yeah.
Life Bay at the end so we can add that in.
Yep. So
Okay,
we'll do
Walker.
Exactly
Walker,
right.
we'll do all of Walker at the 167,337.
right.
okay,
Matthew Road from County Rip to County P.
Matthew from
Okay, so
Rip
just
Road.
rip to P.
P.
all
Rip to
right.
P.
And that's 76,223.
Okay, and that's a half a mile,
Yes.
but I don't know if they'll be using the hot mix plant at the quarry, which would be very convenient.
Yeah.
Okay, they probably will, all right.
Then Erdman, were we all on the same
Cool.
option of the 23,871?
It's
I think so.
3,000.
Yes, yep,
Yeah.
okay, perfect, yep,
Okay,
that's what I had.
And then Erdman Drive, 23,871.
Okay,
Then the small section of Edwards for 6,016, or 6,016,
Yeah, we need to finish that,
all right.
finish the other
Edwards.
side there.
yeah.
Is anybody, shall I calc this up right away?
We got it.
I got it, oh.
You got it?
Yep, I can do that, yeah, here, that's
Okay.
1,
160,
3, 4, so that gets us to 273,447.
Yep.
273, what?
447,
447,
yep.
all right, and then?
Then we would
what?
say the remaining, 126,553 would go Whitefish Bay Road from, is that HH?
From
Eastward
HH,
to the, eastward towards the
Eastward,
highway as
yeah.
far as it gets us.
3/4 of a mile.
Yeah, yep.
Okay, Whitefish Bay. Oh, wait, no. From,
Road,
HH, starting at HH,
Yep.
heading east
Eastbound, yeah.
until $127,000 is used up.
That's right,
Yes.
yep.
When they hit
to
that dollar, stop.
approximately 3/4 of a mile.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, because we're not taking a second trip up there, that should actually stretch it a little further.
It'll make it, yeah.
Yeah,
And that
we
was
won't get to
one-
the high.
126 what?
553,
And that all totals up to,
400,000 and 0 cents.
Yep.
okay,
wow.
That's
right on
almost
the money.
exactly what I did. I was
Okay.
thinking if we do one of the other pieces in there to add to that. But
You know. Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
once you got the two big roads, that takes up such a big chunk.
yeah,
And I thought this way, yeah, it's gonna cover a lot of Whitefish Bay,
Yeah.
the problem part of it.
all right,
and I
nice.
think
Nice
that
job.
the
I
upper part
like
of
getting-
Matthew,
Yeah,
the upper part of Matthew, a couple of years back, the PCI, or I think, did that one, there was that huge dip. They got rid of that.
Yeah.
They fixed a couple of those, and there's actually a new stretch in there. So from like, well,
Up on top of the hill.
Pete Stuffel's way, that way, needs to be done, but from Stuffles to Rip, they pretty much redid that when PCI patched those holes there. So I think we're getting a little more bang for our buck, getting people's eyes glaze over when we say we're gonna do 4 roads rather than 2 roads. You know?
No, nice.
This is now
job.
technically 5 if you count
Amy,
Edward.
are you
Yeah.
good with everything then?
I am.
Okay.
Okay.
So then I guess I would look for a motion
Okay,
to,
so I'll make a motion to approve those roads. Do you want me to list them again?
With
do,
Randy, we're gonna
Oh,
obviously have to
yeah.
have Randy do a
based on the
estimate.
estimates, right?
Yeah, yep, so yeah, based on the estimates, and then with an additional estimate for how far of Whitefish Bay Road we could do on the remaining 126,553.
Okay. All right,
Second.
all right. Second by Mark. Any other thing we need to address? Hey, do we need a motion to accept these estimates or not? Or is that only in the form of a bid?
That's only in the form of a bid.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
sure.
that's just an
All
estimate.
right, okay. So, all those in favor as we just described here, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carried.
Oh, God, new business, thank goodness.
New business. I don't think there is any.
Where's you?
Huh? There isn't any.
He's in Boston.
All right.
Oh, I thought that was his truck up there.
Ordinances and resolutions, we don't have any, and
This is minutes?
we'll look at those in
Did I miss
August. Financial reports. Amy, do you want to report on that, please?
Sure. The town sent out its second quarter fire dues to the city of Sturgeon. I report, which was introduced last year. It was all correlated to the increased shared revenues that we received. So if you did not report, or if you don't fill out the report by July 1st, it's decreased by 15%. So that is all taken.
Excellent.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I was still, 31st, we have to,
Finished with the ARPA
you're
funds.
all, okay. So, motion, treasurer's report?
Motion to accept the treasurer's for May 2025.
Through.
Did-
Sure, sorry.
Second? Who?
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, motion carried. Approval of voucher bills and claims. I think you've all had a chance to look at the packet. If there aren't any questions, a motion to
I'll make a
approve.
motion to approve the vouchers, bills, and claims from May 20th, 2025 through June 16th, 2025.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. We have the annual meeting of tourism day, so we'll just hold. You wanted to comment?
Yeah, note here, Thursday, June 6th, or 5th, AT&T held a ribbon-cutting ceremony at the Crest. AT&T will provide high-speed internet to 4 municipalities: Town of Sevastopol, Town of Egg Harbor, Village of Egg Harbor, and Town of Sturgeon Bay. One representative from each municipality was invited to speak. As the leader of the broadband initiative for the Town of Sevastopol, it was my honor to speak. Eileen Mitchell, the president of AT&T Midwest States, and Robin Gruner, director of external affairs, AT&T Wisconsin, also presented remarks. Special guest Governor Tony Evers spoke about the importance of state funding for broadband, as broadband touches every aspect of our lives. That's a summary.
All right, thank you. Yes, and it was on TV and everything.
It was great.
And then in your packet, we also had the ordinance committee minutes from May 6th and the Park and Rec Committee board minutes from May 14th. So a motion to accept those and place on file, please.
I'll make a motion to accept those minutes and put them on file.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. And then we have our county board report from our Door County Board Supervisor, Hugh Zettel. I guess if you had any questions on that, you could ask him about that. Oh, I can report too that I went to the Board of Adjustment meeting last Tuesday, and they did approve the Zeron variance. Remember that little alcove thing?
Yep.
3.5 hours.
Oh, wow. Just for that?
No, there were two matters ahead of us, but
Okay.
ours, we were on our, it was at least an hour on our matter too, but anyway. Permits, licenses, and permits. You have the building permit inspection report for May, the zoning permits. We have some building going on, that's great. Okay, and now the alcohol, you have the listing there for our alcohol beverage licensing renewals for our various establishments in the town, and that would be for the period July 1st. Oops, up on top there, we can correct that. For the period July 1st, 2025
I didn't update
to
that.
June 30th of 2026. I did have a comment. So number 10, the happy hour, unfortunately, Kirk is no longer with us, so
Right.
we could update that. And then number 11, Wasita Farms, I didn't see an agent listed, and I'm always curious to see who they have agents, as agents.
I agree.
You know,
It's
do their background checks and all
Sayard
that.
Evie.
Oh, Sayer?
Sayard
Yes.
Evie, yes.
Okay, thank you. And then the operator license. So if there aren't any questions, and with those minor corrections, I will look for a motion to approve those applications.
So moved.
And second.
All right, and Amy indicated all the fees have been paid, there's no outstanding debts or anything like that.
Correct.
So, great. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none, motion carried. And the correspondence, we have a nice thank you note there to Amy. We have the Sturgeon Bay Fire Department report for May. I noticed elevator extrication. Is that on a farm? Was that a great
No, that
elevator?
was Sevastopol School.
Oh,
Wow.
somebody
We
got
were at
stuck in
the-
the elevator?
Yeah. I believe it was one of the janitors.
Wow.
And we were over there, and Nathan Leclerc, the Jacksonport Fire Chief,
Yeah.
goes, "Oh, okay." And, yep, and then we heard them all coming to get her out. Or the
Did she
person.
have a medical issue in the
No,
elevator?
just elevator got stuck.
Wow.
It's old.
Oh,
There's an old one
yeah.
there.
Hmm,
There's a lot
interesting.
of, there's a
Hoping
lot
for
of
that.
teachers that have children over there while at this time that it happened, and they pretty much all said, yeah, that's why we don't use that elevator.
Right.
Hmm.
Maybe they ought to
So-
discontinue using that elevator.
Well,
That's what it was. It's a real elevator, like not a hay elevator.
well, when I had to haul the voting machines from the trailer in the back to the school in the front,
You mean the town hall in the back?
the town hall, I had to use the elevator, yeah. Okay, well, maybe they can put that on their list of, their wish list. That's it, folks. Okay, announcements, open book, Friday, June 20th, that's
It's
this
Friday.
My goodness, 10 a.m. to 1 a.m., so you can
Whoa,
come
1
and,
p.m.
1 p.m.
1 p.m., you can come and visit the assessor if you have any questions.
We won't be
Our
here.
next board meeting, Monday, July 21st, and the Board of Review, don't forget, Tuesday, July 22nd, starting at 1 p.m. and our mandatory 2-hour session.
Yep.
So, agenda items for next month, we can figure that out later, and a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carried, we are adjourned. Thank you.